Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi.
Waalaikumsalam, Doktor.
And
Hello.
good afternoon to all. As usual, to all the Muslim, we begin by reciting the Al-Fatiha and Salawat. Okay, how are you today?
Fine, sir. Fine,
Nak-
sir.
Fine sir, nak pergi vaksin sir.
Nak pergi vaksin?
Saya sekejap lagi nak pergi vaksin ni pukul 3. Saya punya appointment.
Booster?
Booster.
Baru-baru ambil booster. Awak dah 6 bulan ke?
Dah lebih lah saya 6 bulan ni.
Oh, kena ambil cepat lah. Saya bulan 2 esok 6 bulan.
Itulah ke saya hari ni pula dapat 15 bulan ni pukul 3 ni.
Oh, dia masuk sejahtera
Dia masuk My Sejahtera. Sebab saya tak tahu, sebab saya mungkin ceras KL kan. KL dulu ke macam mana.
Yelah, pergilah. Dekat mana buat ni?
Saya dekat hotel area Cognot ni, dekat Ceras juga.
Oh, di KL KL Okay. Alright, tak apa. Nanti kalau dah tu pergilah.
Okay, betul.
Alright, so next week I will post to you the second assignment and your last assignment lah. The third one is the talk, right? Or you want more assignment?
No, sir.
After this, you quiz, Alright, for quizzes, I will give you the slide. But the slide is not the same slide as my slide earlier, right? Because the question for the quizzes is the same slide. The quizzes, the question is taken for the slide, slide that I will give you, not the slide that I teach you. The slide I give you. The slide I teach you is quite latest one, but since that the question is a lot, so I cannot enough time to have a new question, a new set of questions for the new slide. So I use the previous slide. So previous slide I will give to you. It's better lah, because if the question based on the new slide is too many, you need to read. So that is the thing that I want to say lah. So the question for the quizzes is based on the slide, right? So we proceed with our class. Before we proceed with the class, I'd like to share with you something. I'd like to share with you the kind of bunker, and the kind of bunker that been used by the shipping industry, by the ships. Okay, there. Can you see this one? Can you see this?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Can you?
All right. This I take from a journal, but I cannot download the journal because they ask for payment, so quite expensive. But I just capture the figure, right? So these are the category of bunker, the colors, red, blue, green, dark blue, right? Right, and brown, orange. Okay. uh, these are the what abbreviation of the bunker type, the short abbreviation of the bunker type, like this. HFO, heavy fuel oil, right? MGO, marine diesel or marine gas oil. LSHFO, low sulfur heavy fuel oil, right? And LNG, liquid natural gas. Okay. So these are the most common shipping bunker before the one IMO 2020 enforced. But 2020 is not is been encouraged for the shippers to use more green environmental friendly oil, but it's at the price lah. It's not cheap, right? That's why still many ships need to maintain the existing oil, but they make some amendments to the ship itself. They put a filter equipment, not filter. They filter the emission of the ships, so that what comes out from the ship emission is clean emission, less polluted, less polluted as compared to the initial emission without filter. All right. So you see here. All right. These are the type of ships. Usually, they use the type of bunker, right? Container ship mostly use, but most ships operate. Most type of ships use HFO. The red one is HFO, right? The blue one is low sulfur one, right? Okay. And the blue one is this one, MDO or MGO. LFH is the green one, right? The green one, right? LNG, the orange. So mostly use this kind of oil, the three, red, blue, green, and orange, right? Hydrogen and what is this? Methanol, hydrogen and methanol seldom, not many, right? Okay. Tanker use mostly HFO and MDO or MGO. Okay. Right, most of the ships use HFO. Container ship, this one, HFO and blue one, MDO, MGO, and also the low sulfur one, the green, right? Okay. So it's very important for shippers, for carriers to use under IMO 2020 to use more or less polluted emission, less polluted bunker, so that to protect the environment. Right, less polluted one is MGO and LSHFO and LNG lah, right? Yang ni yang kuat emission, heavy fuel oil, HFO. Okay. And this one pula, I want to show you the CO2 emission. CO2 emission in marine activities, right? Domestic shipping, from 27 to 2015. These are the CO2 emissions. Right? So the graph you can see, global CO2 emission, fishing boats, domestic shipping. Domestic shipping is coastal shipping, coastal shipping, right? And also what they call it, inland waterways. This one, international shipping, is maritime. Maritime, you can see CO2 emission level, 900 million tons of CO2, right? As compared to global emission. So CO2 from maritime is the greatest contribution to the CO2 of the world, because of the bunker. That's why IMO is very serious on enforcing IMO 2020. That's why there's ships that use methanol, that use LNG, been encouraged for future shipping bunker. All right. So, and you must remember, based on the graph just now, the previous graph, one container, one ship, one carrier can carry different types of bunker, right? Because why? There are some requirements. Requirement need to be fulfilled by the carrier when they want to harbor at the port of call. It depends on the port authorities. Some port authorities that are very environmental conscious. They encourage or they make it mandatory for the ship that harbored at the port or their port to change the bunker to methanol or to LNG, to more green bunker lah. Understand? Because when dealing with the port, it takes maybe 1 day or 2 days to unload or loading of the cargo, and the ship need to harbor at the port, and the ship engine must keep on going for the sake of energy, energy needed for the to maintain the ship, especially when the ship has crew inside and also has refrigerated reefer container. So they need energy, they need currents, electric supply. So where does the electric supply comes from? From the engine. So the engine must keep on moving, and when the engine is moving, they produce emission, right? The emission must go out, right, from the engine. So the longer they stay at the port, the more emission they contribute to environment of the circling around the ports. So that's why certain ports, they ask the carrier or the shipper, the ship itself, to change to green bunker when they arrive at the port. So that's why so ships usually have a few type of bunker they carry for the purpose of their operations of the loading and unloading of cargo at the ports. Certain port they doesn't matter. Certain port they just don't bother about the bunker punya type, right? But certain ports, especially more environmental conscious country or developed country, like Singapore, like the American, the US, the Europe, right? They are very concerned about the environment, so they ask the ship to change the bunker, so that it's less polluted to the environment. Study have been done, certain ports in the world. The air at the ports circulated near the port. They call it like the what they call it, the vicinity of the port. The vicinity, the hinterland of the port, around 10 kilometers, 15 kilometers around the port. The air is very much affected by the shipping activities. And that's why they encourage or they make a mandatory for the ship to change bunker when they arrive at the port. And this air environmental pollution at the port will affect the livelihood of the residents at the port. As you all know, the port itself not only consists of a warehouse or yards. It consists of housing areas. It consists of commercial areas, commercial activities around the airport and the hinterland of the port. So people are living there. So just imagine the environment there, at the port. It's very polluted. So the study done in not mistaken, in US, people living near the port got more cases of severe asthma, chronic asthma, due to the environment, the air around the ports because of the shipping activities. That's why, like I told you before, the HFO, heavy fuel oil of the ship, is very thick, and you just imagine the emission that will come out is also dangerous, full of toxic. Okay, so these are the CO2 emissions from different sources of marine transportations. The different ships, different emission level they give. Right, for example, bulk carrier is up to 160 CO2. Chemical tanker less. Container is the most highest, because there's many ships carrying containers. Container ship contribute more CO2 emission. Cruise is less, even less lah. Ferry tak ada ferry ropex. Ferry ropex ni meaning that ferry that carry cars, vehicles, and also passengers. Ferry carry passengers only, less emission. Ferry that carry cars and passengers got emissions. And then general cargo less 60 plus level CO2 emission. Tanker less than 50. Gas tanker less than 50. Oil tanker is 100 and nearly 110. See, other liquefied tanker not many. Other liquefaction, maybe the ship they don't have not many ship on that. Ferry passenger also they have not many ship, not many ferry on that. So the contribution of CO2 is lesser. Refrigerated bulk cargo, less. Roro, they have Roro, half of the half of the 50 is 25. Vehicle, in the vehicle, I don't know what they mean by vehicle. These are the CO2. CO2 emission from different sources of marine transportations. The highest is container, right? So because of this, this all happened because of HFO, heavy fuel oil. The container, you see, they use many heavy fuel oil, but the trend is changing. Hopefully, in future there will be less pollution by the container. Right? So just imagine that is the reason, right? This is the reason why IMO very seriously talking about changing ship bunker to more green oil, green bunker. All right. Any question? Any question? Folks?
No, sir.
Okay. Hope understand. You understand? Okay. So these are the some important figure on the effect of ordinary HFO bunker on the environment, CO2. Right. So one of the most major contributors to CO2 emission in the world is from shipping, maritime. Right. Okay. Now we will observe a little video, a short video on bunkering. So that you can see actual activities of bunkering. How does this? What does it involve, and how is the process of bunkering in real life? So with technology now, you don't need to go and visit the port. You just can look and understand the process from your class. Wait,
been the reason for several accidents in the past. Ship refueling is one such process at sea which has been the reason for several accidents in the past. The ship refueling process is known as bunkering. In this video, we will learn about the ship refueling procedure and what important points should be taken into consideration for the overall safety of the ship.
Remember, I told some of the terminology they use sometimes is refueling, because refer to fueling the ship. But the actual terms in maritime is bunkering.
Meaning of the word bunker. In the shipping industry, the word bunker is used for fuel and lube oils which are stored on ship and used for operational purpose. If a vessel is carrying marine fuel or lube oil as a cargo to discharge to another port, it will not be called as bunker. If the vessel or a barge or a truck is carrying it to transfer to another ship for using it in the machinery system, it will be termed as bunker, and the operation performed for transferring the oil is known as bunkering.
So you see, if the ship carrying oil, ONG oil, crude oil, as a cargo, they're not called bunker. They call it's a tanker. A bunker is a thing that is the oil that used for refueling other ships.
Types of bunker fuel: heavy fuel oil,
You can see heavy fuel oil. Remember, I told you it's very thick, like tar, you know tar, the bitumen, the asphalt, the tar that make the road black. That hold together all this gravel on the roads. They pour tar at the road. You can see now the road is very nice surface and a black color. If the road is new, is black color. So that is like the fuel oil, very thick black for shipping oil, for shipping bunker. Just imagine, like to just now, this kind of oil been processed and the emission that will they produce. So
diesel oil, marine gas oil, lube oil, and LNG fuel bunker. The ship sailing in the high seas usually receive bunker in port or in open water or when the ship is at anchor. The bunker fuel can be supplied to the ship by a bunker truck in port or by a smaller vessel dedicated to carrying bunker fuel, usually known as bunker barge.
So you see, the ship refueling can be at the port, whereby a container ataupun a tanker lorries carrying bunker and refuel the ship at the port itself while they are harboring at the port. And sometimes while they are anchoring at the sea, like this one, they call it bunker barge atau bunker ship, a small ship, bunker small ship, atau ship bunker. So they refueling while the ship is anchoring. Anchoring meaning that while the ship is stopping ketika kapal tu berhenti di laut anchoring the ship stop.
When the ship is at anchor, the fuel is supplied by the bunker vessel or bunker barge. Ship refueling or bunkering procedure is mainly divided into three parts. The chief engineer, who is the overall
So this is what we call bunkering plan or bunkering management, right? So it involve planning, and then involve verifying all the process.
in charge of the engine room department should calculate and check which bunker oil tanks are to be filled. It might be required to empty some tanks and transfer the oil from one tank to another to prevent the mixing of two oils. A pre-bunker meeting should be held between the members who will take part in the bunkering process.
See, you want to refuel a ship, it's not easy. You need to plan. The chief engineer will involve, and there's a team to complete the operation. You need to discuss with the team meeting. And this team sometimes include also the team on the bunker vessel site.
No smoking notice should be positioned near the bunkering station. Red flag or red light is put on the masthead, which is an indication of bunkering operation is underway.
So the indicator is here, the red flag or red light, showing that the ship is ongoing, is ongoing for bunkering.
The bunker barge will then pass the hose, whose one end is connected to its own tanks, which carry the oil, and the other end is connected to ship's bunker manifold, which is receiving the oil. The condition of the hose and connection to the manifold must be checked properly by the ship's staff. Proper communication between the barge and the ship is to be established, and emergency stop signal is to be discussed with each other.
So you see, when they do the planning, they need to meet together, all the teams for both part, right? And then they need to establish a very good communications platform between these two, so that if anything happen, any emergency happen, they can be informed as soon as possible, as quickly as possible, especially by raising up the stop signal. Because the controlling is inside the ship, controlling of the amount of the oil punya transporting process, right? When they call for stop, they don't shout in the what, they not only shout in the walkie-talkie to stop, but also they raise a signal. So the all members that involved in the bunkering process know the whole process must be stopped.
Once all checks are done, the manifold wall is open for proceeding bunkering. During the start of the bunker, the pumping rate is kept low to ensure that the oil is coming in the selected tank. The ship staff must track the sounding of the selected bunkering tank and other tanks which are not involved in the operation. This is to make sure oil is going to the selected tank. After confirming that oil is coming in the designated tank, the pumping rate can be increased.
You see, that one also they need to check the sound of the oil coming to the tank, coming to the designated tank. Designated tank means that the tank that they want to fill. And like I told just now, in ship there are many tanks. All right, and some tanks that have different kind of bunker for the purpose of like at the port. So that's why they need to identify which tank to fill with which oil, with which type of oil. So it's not easy. It's very tedious, and they need to listen. Not only what based on the measurement of the scale there, they also need to check the like sound checking to ensure that the oil is going in the right tank. And the tank, they can hear the oil coming in. Then only they should raise up the pumping rate. Because everything is about oil flow. If something happen to the flow, they will burst somewhere else, right? Macam traffic jam lah. Kalau traffic jam is a flow, flow of cars. If you block here, the flow doesn't stay there. They will affect others. Same like oil also. It's a liquefied engineering. Liquid engineering. So when you stop one place, they will affect others. That's why they're very particular on this. Before they can increase the pump rate. Because when the pump increase, is difficult. Is the effect is great. Is something happen because pumping at that time is high rate.
Usually, one tank is filled at a time. If more than one tank are filled simultaneously, it increases the chances of an overflow. One can fill any tank up to 90% of its capacity to be on the safer side. Once the tank is about to be filled to a maximum level, barge is told to decrease the pumping rate. After that, the valve of the other tank can be opened. During this whole process, sounding should be taken regularly and the frequency of sounding is increased when the tank is near full. Many vessels have tank gauges which show tank level in the control room, but this is only to be relied upon if the system is checked and working correctly. The temperature of the fuel is also very important during the bunkering process. It needs to be checked prior to taking bunker and according.
So just now, although they have the gadgets at the maximum scale installed, they are very precautious on this matter because sometimes the measurement scale, doesn't perform well. So they need to use manually to check the sound because when the tank is 90% full, the sound is different as compared to 50% full, right? So that's important. Although they have a very up to date measurement scale in the system, but they still check it manually in order to ensure that the tank is properly filled up. Right, sometimes the measurement is at fault. They indicate differently. That one is problem, right? So the other thing is that the temperature of the oil is also important.
Accordingly, the volume calculation should be done, which will decide the quantity to be filled in the tanks. Generally, the barge or supplier will provide the bunker temperature. Temperature is a critical parameter, especially for bunker fuel such as heavy fuel oil, and any deviation in the provided temperature value may lead to shortfall in bunker supply and loss to the company.
So why temperature is important? Because temperature will affect the quantity of oil. All right. That's why if you notice, you are not encouraged to fill your car or your motorcycle during noon time, during the hottest or the highest temperature of the day, because it will affect your content of the fuel in the tank. When you pump in at for example higher temperature, the oil tend to vaporize, and that will affect also the measurement of the oil in the tank. By right, it's only vapor because of the heat. That's why it affect to the loss to the owner of the ship, to the carrier. But cars and motors maybe not much lah. Dia punya difference vapor tu kan. But for maritime, it's great because the amount of bunker they want to fill is the magnitude is a lot more than the cars and motorcycle. It's go by tonnage. So just imagine the effect of it. Right. So that's why to avoid loss, they need to ensure that the temperature of oil a certain level of temperature that is good for bunkering.
A continuous sample is taken during bunkering with the help of sampling cock at the manifold known as the dripping sample flange. Utmost precaution needs to be taken when opening the other storage tank wall and closing the wall of the tank which is reaching the maximum fill limit. One officer must be present at bunker manifold at all times, and pollution prevention kit along with fire extinguishers should be kept near the bunker station. Once the tank is filled, It is a general practice to air blow the bunkering supply.
So you see, the bunkering plan is on 3 stages: planning before bunkering, planning before bunkering, while bunkering, and then after post bunkering, right? Planning pre-bunkering, during bunkering, and post bunkering.
Line for discharging all the oil trapped in the pipelines. At this stage, make sure all sounding pipe caps are closed and keep a watch on those storage tank vents which are at their maximum limit. Do not open the connecting line between bunker ship and receiving manifold, as in case of any discrepancies, the supplier may agree to compensate the shortfall and resume the bunkering operation. Draft and trim of the ship must be checked and noted. The volume bunker should be correct.
You see the draft,
Are closed and keep a watch on those storage tank vents which are at their maximum limit. Do not open the connecting line between bunker ship and receiving manifold, as in case of any discrepancies, the supplier may.
So the bunker line, the pipeline, the bunker, you cannot, once finished, you can't just immediately disconnect it, because you need to wait for the engineer, the chief engineer of the ship and also of the bunker vessel to agree upon anything. If any discrepancy maksudnya any difference, maybe the bunker vessel will compensate by giving more bunker to them, right? So that is the thing that you need to discuss before they can disconnect. So no such thing as like you pump in the pump in the petrol station, after putting you just immediately take out, right? That one cannot be done for shipping. You must have approval from the engineers first. And the engineers need to discuss with the vessel engineers, the bunker vessel engineers. Then only they can decide, right? After that, they can disconnect the line.
May agree to compensate the shortfall and resume the bunkering operation. Draft and trim of the ship must be checked and noted.
So you see, like I told you before in the class last week, that the issue of carrying more or less bunker is reflect to the issue of carrying more or less cargo, right? So these are important for the captain to decide. That's why it will based on the journey. That's why they have just a bunker management strategy. Okay, bunker management strategy, whereby the strategy involve of looking at the routes of the shipping of the ships and the routes. Okay, the route of the ships. Right. So this strategy involve what they call it process of uh, knowing your journey, one thing, and then port selections for bunkering. So which port that you select for bunkering along the way, and then the amount of bunker that you determine that will that needed at the port. This one is reflect back to the speed that you will be going and the weight of the ships. Understand? So it's not easy less that just feel it. No, it it all involve bunkering management strategy, which involve which port along the journey that you want to select as a port of bunker, and then you need to understand to know the amount of bunker that you need based on the speed that you require you required to go, because speed of the ship really affect the bunker, the usage of bunker. If the ship is lower, the bunker usage is less and it's more economical journey to the port, to the next port. That's why the ship speed will reflect back your schedules, right? Though everything is interrelated, is connected to each other. So that is management, bunkering management strategy. So this why you look at the drop, right? To know that if when the bunker of the ship is full, the tank that is full, so the weight the ship go down at what level, and then when that one inclusive of the weights. So the captain must know, must alert about this.
The volume bunker should be corrected for trim, heel, and temperature correction. In general, for each degree of increase in temperature, the density should be reduced by 0.64 kg per meter cube. 4 samples are taken during bunkering. 1 is kept on board, 1 for the bunker ship or barge, 1 for lab analysis, and 1 for port state and other regulatory authorities. After everything is settled, the hose connection is removed. The sample is then sent for laboratory analysis.
You see, it's very complex. Bunkering of ships.
Samples are taken during bunkering.
See, the 4 sample, the 4 bottle samples is the stakeholders of the whole process of bunkering. Who are the stakeholders? Who stakeholders? Orang yang terlibat dengan bunkering ni.
One is kept on board.
On board the ship itself.
1 for the bunker ship or barge.
The bunker vessel.
1 for lab analysis.
Lab analysis lagi.
And 1 for port state and other regulatory authorities.
So
after everything is settled, the hose connection is removed.
just imagine these are the 4 stakeholders of bunkering process of a ship. The authorities, the supplier of a bunker vessel, for lab analysis, is it true or not? The bunker choose the bunker type reflect back the bunker itself, and the content of water, whatever inside the bunker for that analysis. And one bottle is for the ship to keep, right? As a proof. So it's not easy. It's not a straightforward process, right? But they have procedures, SOP.
The sample is then sent for laboratory analysis. The chief engineer will make the entry of the operation in oil record book along with the received bunker delivery note. If there is any shortfall in the supplied quantity, the chief engineer can raise a note of protest to the supplier and the copy is forwarded to the head office, which includes written details of the dispute. The new bunker should not be used until the report from the lab has been received by the ship or office and it endorses the fuel is okay to use.
Alright, you see? They need to get the result of the analysis first before they can proceed using. Sometimes maybe you would think, why they don't do the analysis before the bunkering? Right? You're talking about thousands of tons of bunker. You cannot just take the bunker from the tank and just take the analysis. The bunker can only be taken up when they are been transferring through the pipe. The gauge. Remember they told the gauge. They take from that one. When that one can be taken only after the process of bunkering. Right. So that's about a very complete process of bunkering for a ship. Any questions? Any question you want to ask about the process just now, the video? You understand? Now you can see through your live picture video on how the process. And that's why you need to plan the bunkering. Right? It's not easy. Right? The planning involves pre-bunkering, during bunkering, and post-bunkering. Right? And the stakeholders of bunkering, there are 4. The ship, the vessel barge, the bunkering vessels after the supplier, the lab, and the authorities. Right? So authorities, why you need to send the authorities? There are many reasons why. Sometimes some are for security reason. Remember after the September 11, right? So they need to have this thing as a proof that is a bunker that they are pumping, no other else, no other things. Then there's some other security reason lah. That's why the authority need to have it. Okay, especially America lah. They are very afraid of this terrorism. Terrorism not only involve airlines, aircraft, it also involve maritime. Anything, any vehicle that go beyond borders of countries, they are worried, right, of terrorism attack. Terrorism attack during using transportation is common. Before not new, but it's common 100 years ago, right? They use transportation as the mode to terrorize. For example, September 11, they used aircraft to hit the twin tower, the twin tower of the, what is the name of the tower? Lupa. World Trade Center, the twin tower for World Trade Center in New York. They use Boeing 747 as the torpedo, right, as the missiles attacking the building, and it collapsed both wing, both building collapsed on the ground, and they call it ground zero. It's very despicable act of terrorism that killed thousands of people at the WTC, right? And also not only reflect the terrorism ugliness, but also reflect that how vulnerable is mode of transportation, whereby initially the transportation mode or vehicle is being used to make us together, for social reasons, meeting each other, making friends, but the vehicle itself being used to terror, to attack people, whereby you can see in the Middle East, or even in any war, they use vehicle as a bomb, right? Suicide bomber, they use a car and they bulldoze the army, or they bulldoze the common area of people, and they blow the car up and kill many civilians and many armies and militaries. So see how dangerous is transportation. It can be used for our noble needs of social well-being, to noble needs for trade, exchange of goods and economic development, but it can also use for terror, right? For terror attack. So that is why, like you see just now, authorities is the four stakeholders of bunkering, right? They do it for security reason, not only for maritime but other modes also, right? All right. Any questions? I want to check the class. Is it, or are you alert or sleeping? Abid? Where's Abid?
Yes, doctor, I'm here.
You understand
Yes, doctor.
the whole process now?
I didn't understand the last one, doctor, but I will read the slide.
What the last one is what?
I forgot, doctor, just now.
You can ask. I can explain.
It's okay,
Right.
doctor. I can read the slide. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, thank you so much, doctor.
All right. Aiman Shazni,
Ya,
are
ada.
you around? Aiman ada?
Ada.
Siapa ni MPP UEM ni? Siapa ni? Ada? Siapa nama? Tak pun nama ni.
Sir, saya ada masalah nak tukar nama Webex ni sebab tadi saya ada program.
Oh. Nama apa?
Azri. Muhammad Azri bin Mizra.
Awak calon eh?
Ya, saya.
Oh, Lotran.
Lord Trans, ya betul.
Oh, bagus. Lotran undi Mak Azri
Masih umum 1-2, sir.
Nombor apa? 1-2?
Umum 1-2.
1-2 Oh, Lotran student, support your friend. Anything problem Lotran ni tadi line wifi tak kuat lah apa semua. Report to Azril First of all, you must select, nominate him, vote for him so that you can voice out your needs. Okay, Azrin?
Terima kasih sir, doakan kami.
Okay, no problem. Muzamil, ada? Muzamil?
ada.
Ada.
Saya.
Good. Nabiha? Nabiha ada?
Ada sir, ada.
Yuling? Yuling? Yuling dah tak ada lah. Tan Yuling? Sudah keluar.
Yes, sir.
Ada? You around?
Sir, can you hear me?
Can. Wong Zuan? Wong Zuan, you around? Wong Zuan sudah keluar ke? Wong Zuan? Tak ada Tengku Tihani? Tengku Tihani ada? Semua senyap ni. Wong Zuan tak ada. Tengku Tihani tak ada. Ini pergi mana ni? Yang sini?
Sir?
Good.
Yes, sir.
Pamela?
Saya?
Okay. Yuling ni Wong Zuan tak ada Kai Chin?
Yes, sir. Panggil saya ke?
Yikuan? Wong Zuan? Tadi Wong Zuan
Yes,
Ya.
Where are you going just now?
Tak, saya ada. Tapi saya rasa saya panggil salah nama saya. So saya tak pastilah.
Wong Zuan, nama awak Wong Zuan
Nama saya Wong Zijian.
Wong Zijian. Nampak je dua tulisan. You sambung dua tu kan? Nampak je Zuan. Patut you senyap kan? Tengku Tihani ada? Mana pergi Tiny ni? Okay, never mind. Okay. So the video is about the whole process of bunkering actually. The I show you just now, right? All right. So it's about most of the things like in the slide lah. Okay. Right. We will continue with our class on the slide, and there's something that you need to know about the calculation. Calculations of the bunkering process, bunkering requirements. Okay. Okay, if you got a question, never mind. Usually this kind of question is on your final. We give you a scenario and you must calculate the bunker requirement. But you have no face-to-face, though we don't have any final exams. If not, your final exam is not easy. It's difficult because with your final exam question actually is endorsed by CILT, right? But you're lucky because in Malaysia, we have CILT Malaysia, right? During my time of study CILT, the questions come from England, UK. and the answer script is sent to England for marking. That one is quite difficult lah to pass, because actually, as you all know, there's no one single textbook for transportation. There are many books and also many articles and many transport magazines that you need to explore, right? But nowadays it's easier for that matter. Those days you need to look for the hard copy. Those days, my time lah. In 1989, 1980s lah, 1980s, 88, 89, 87, and don't have this Google whatsoever. So how you want to read? You must find the hard copy, right? Those days, many libraries in universities, they make a copy, they print the copy with the permission of the publisher. They make a copy and they print it and they bind it and they put in the library. So that is how we got to study transportation. But mind you, the student on transportation those days not many. So the books in the library also is enough for all. But nowadays it cannot. You can see the books for transportation in the library only one or two, but the student want to take it is hundreds plus, right? More than hundreds. So not enough. That's why now this is easier to have what ebook, ebook, soft copy. So those days, that's the way, right? That's the way for us to learn transportation. You must look for hard copies. Other than books, you go for journals. Journals now those days tak susah. Those days journal in the library you do in docket type. Docket, they put the docket kertas kecil 4 segi tu. They stack the docket in the cabinet. They go for keywords, keywords and the numbers there. You look for that. Susah dulu, sekarang ni tak payah dah, semua open source kan. Online saja kan, you can click keluar semua kan. This hard copy. So that is the way we read. And during the exams, we really read based on the required schema ataupun syllabus, and then we be prepared. We don't know the question is. We can look at the previous question, try to do it, but the question won't be the same, right? So the one question cover one page usually, 1 page or half a page, or 3/4 page, one question. That will be your sort of question. So you need to solve it. You need to answer it. Usually the answer, one question will be 2-3 pages of the answer script. You must write in English. Right? You have wrong English, they don't understand, you fail. Right? Those days. Right? Because your answer sheet or answer script, you need to send to UK, CLT UK. Because those time, there's no CLT Malaysia yet. All right. So they sent to UK. Usually, out of 20 students taking CLT, half fail. Half, sometimes 3/4, sometimes half, right? Fail. Because it's difficult. You need to know more, right? Because when you answer the question, you need to justify. Susah dulu. Sekarang ni senang. Sekarang ni you all are easy because ada CLT Malaysia, no need to send to UK, and most of the examiner are Malays and Chinese and Indian are Malaysians. So they understand Malay, bahasa Malaysia. They understand your English with bahasa Malaysia punya dialect, or Chinese dialect, they understand. So they can, as long they understand, they can mark lah. The problem is that with dulu the British people, they don't understand. They terus pangkah je, kan? So now it's easy to learn because open source and then all electronic sources. So no need to go and find the books and go climb the stairs of the library, go out up and down for the shelf to look for books. All are online, easy. You can do your thesis, you can do your reading just in your room, right? Itu pun malas juga kan, betul tak? Betul tak? Itu pun malas juga kan. Tapi sepatutnya you kena bersyukur because today's is easy with technology. You're lucky to be born in this era of Google and IR4. All right. So this about the calculations of the bunker requirement usually come with questions. These are the questions. Okay, they give you a scenario. First of all, they provide you this. A modern bulk carrier of 63,500 tons, that weight has a speed of 15 knots. This is standard requirement they ask. They will give you. The weight is 60,000 and the speed is 15 knots. Speed is very important also, right? And then 37 tons of fuels per day are used at the sea. When the ship is moving at the sea, they use 37 tons per fuel per day, right? This kind of ship, the ship that weight 63,000, they use 37 tons of bunker per day at sea. When they harbor at port, they use 10 tons of fuel. Why? Because just harbor at port, they don't move. 37 tons, they move, right? They're moving. Total weight for modern bulk, 2,700 tons of fuel, plus 250 tons of waters, plus 100 tons of store, normally weights, and 60,000 tons of cargo. You see, the total weight, the dead weight of 63,000 consists of the weight of the bunker. So you see, this is a small ship, a small ship of 63,000 tons. So the bunker weight is 2,700 tons. The bunker weight, and quarter tons, 250 tons of waters. Waters ni fresh water for supply on the ship lah, for the usage of food, drinks, and also bathing, mandi, takkan mandi air masin kan. Okay, so they use 250 tons of waters. Wait, hello. Yeah. Ada call Nanti aku call it. Okay. Okay. Nanti aku call okay. Right. Plus 100 tons store normally weight. 100 tons store ni supply store lah. Food, right? Food everything lah. Food, spare part, everything. Right? Right? And the ton water tu inclusive ballast water lah. And 30,000 tons of cargo. Right? Like I told you before, the captain must ensure that carrying cargo more than the carrying others, because cargo is giving them value, giving them money. Others just incur cost, right? They will give you this one. Then the questions, the distance between two ports, 6,300 miles ship non-stop. Okay, the voyage requires 17.5 days at sea. The journey is 17 days, 17.5 days, and 4 days to work cargo, 4 days at the port. Right? The reserve requirement 162 tons, and water and a stormont 250 tons. How to calculate the fuel capacity, the fuel and capacity of cargo? Boleh buat Fuel 17.5 day at sea plus 4 day working cargo. Right? 1 day at sea is they use at sea ship use 37 tons per day times 17.5 day plus during work cargo at ports 4 days 10 ton per day times 4. Jadi equivalent to 88 tons fuel they need. Faham? For the journey to the port. Cargo capacity, maximum weight, less fuel, less reserve fuel, less water, less store. All is given. But the most important thing is the fuel capacity. You got it. If you got it right, you got the whole thing right. If you got the whole fuel capacity wrong, the whole thing is wrong. Right? So the cargo capacity will be, the total dead weight is 63,000 ton, 63.5 thousand ton, less the capacity of the oil for the journey is 388 tons, Let's reserve fuel 162 tons and water and store 250 tons. Equivalent to 62,000 tons of cargo capacity. Okay, so these are the example of the calculation. Any question? Any question? Any question?
No, sir.
Understand? Okay, you understand, eh? Right. Okay, the rules of bunkering. Every bunkering plan must comply in all respect with international load line treaties and also with the required marine insurance underwriters concerning reserve of fuel oil. Second rule, the bunkering plan must ensure the maximum earning power of the ship. So these are the common rules of bunkering. First of all, you must comply with the procedures and process of bunkering by IMO. Right, just now the video show the SOP. Right, and also the load line treaties. Remember the video show the draft and the line at the ships, the scale at the ships, at the hull of the ships, right? At the hull of the ship, the scale, the line, that is load lines. So you must follow the load lines mentioned in the regulations or conventions with for example with the full load of bunker and cargo, what should be your load lines? You don't exceed. You exceed the ship open to subject to sink because that is the standard lines for the need to follow the load lines. If you go beyond that, the line that has been designated for the ships, the probability happen is that the ship maybe can sink. Oh, tenggelam. You must remember, although the ship is floating, floating in the water, but they can sink also. How they sink? If it's too heavy, they can tenggelam. Right? Maybe not easily, but you must remember you are moving on the sea, and sea is not always calm. Not always calm. Maksudnya tak tenang. Sea not always calm. Sometimes you have rough seas. Rough seas meaning that there are many waves. Big wave, small wave that disrupt your journey and they affect the calmness of the stability of the ship. Right? When you go through these rough seas and your ship is beyond the load lines, your ship can easily sink. Right? When you met with big wave. Okay? Because the buoyancy of the ship affected by the load lines. Now buoyancy. Who knows buoyancy? You learn physics, the buoyancy of the ship, daya apungan of the ship will be affected if your weight you don't follow the load lines. Okay, you can see how complex the shipping itself. Okay, the ship may not be deviate significantly from her assigned route solely to acquire fuel. If okay, but you know what does it mean? You cannot simply deviate ataupun don't follow your routes. You deviate from your routes. Why? Because for fueling. You cannot do that. It shows bad management, bad bunkering planning. Right? But it happens Why? Because maybe along the journey, there's some technical errors, technical matters, problem that the ship is facing, a leaking of the tank or whatsoever. The tank, the oil is not there. It's not enough to go to the next port of call. So you need to deviate. That one is what what they call it, emergency lah. What to do, right? Matters happen. Maybe you use extra bunker because of you need to deal with rough seas, right? When you deal with rough seas, sometimes you need to use more bunker than normal seas and than calm seas, than normal seas. Rough seas need extra power from the ships to maintain stability, to maintain dia punya journey lah. Because of that, the ship cannot reach the next port of call by using the existing bunker. They need to deviate from the route to get the bunker. That one can happen. That one can happen. But purposely deviating due to proper ataupun bad management, bad planning of bunker, bad bunker management strategy. That one is showing your level of your level of managing the ship is very bad, right? So you shouldn't do that, Okay. Rule number 4. Before you decide, when you have decided, right, to take the port of calls and also the port of bunker for bunkering at the port, you need to contact. You need to secure the bunker from the supplier before you come to the port. Right? Not just simply go attending the port, of course. Then suddenly you say, I want to bunker. Cannot. You must be assured before from the provider or supplier, so that the requirement that the ship needs for bunkering, they can provide. Right? Either the type of bunker ataupun the amount of bunker that you want, they can provide. Okay? No such thing as immediately when you harbor the ship for cargo handling, suddenly you want to bunker your ships. That one no. That one is bad management. That's why you need to plan bunkering process. That's why they have a bunkering management strategy, so that in advance you need to clear all these things. Okay? Ini semua dalam ni dah ada kan, dah tunjuk dalam video Okay. So you can read the slide later on. Any more questions? Any question that you want to ask? You understand? The video I think is good because it covers everything in the slide, so you can watch and see and learn yourself how the best SOP, the best bunkering management port is Singapore port. They have achieved ISO standard quality. Okay. So any question? No question? So it's already 4 o'clock. So good, you understand? Thank you very much. Abid, you understand not? Abid, what is your question just now?
Yes, sir, I understand, sir.
So what is the question just now?
The question about the bunker, sir.